Hi, this is Hans with Requests for Music and back with a new tutorial on Synclavier. I want to have a look at time slices again and especially at sort of building semi-sequences with it because there's just another way of having a look at stuff. Um, I'm using my same simple sine wave again with some effects on there and as a starter, and I'm going into my time slices and well, as you can tell, we still have one sine wave, and in the partial line we can see that there's just this one dot as a slice, and I can just add more slices to it, and a new slice comes up with a fade time. Yeah, so if I for instance, if I transpose this next slice, which is selected at the moment, which you can tell from the thicker line around it, you can hear that it's now going to, with on every key press that I do, it's going to slide from this one tone to the other tone. So it's going to slide up in one octave. But what if I didn't want? What if I didn't want that? What if I just wanted to switch from one sound to another? I could add delay time to it. So this partial has now delay time of 0 and a fade time of 0.5. But what I could do is, by double clicking on this, I could just put 0.5 as a delay time in and 0 as a fade time, and it would really switch from one sound to another. So each time I press a key now, it just switches through this. It's like starting a sequence. Yeah, so if I put more of those in, say that I didn't want this to be an octave, but I want this to be, say, step of 3. And at 1, I would put another one in, change my time to delay time of 0.5 and a fade time of. So I could add one more to go back to this, or I could just copy this and paste it here. But then when copy and pasting, you see that the fade time has sort of priority, so it seems. So I need to put this at 0.5 and 0 for the fade time again. So, oops. Yeah, so each time I press it, and I have to time it myself then. Something like that, because it even works on chords then. And obviously I can change a lot to sound as well, because if I put in some modulation, so if I go into my mixer and I change it to something like that for the frequency modulation, it now frequency modulates all of those time slices, unless I would go in and change modulation for any. So say I wanted more on my first one and leave my modulation there, maybe change the sound even a bit more. And I could take the modulation out of the, like that, and I could change even more modulation on the third. Something like that, and change the modulation back to something low. And what if I wanted to change my speed? I could obviously change all of these, because now it's at its default setting, which means that 0.5 is half a second. But what if I wanted to change that? I could go back into my panel by going there and look at my top panel, where I've got my frame speed, yeah, and I've got which is set for each partial separately. So I could go into my frame speed, and by changing that to a higher value, say something like 1.5, yeah, and you hear it obviously stops at that point. Okay, something like that. And so you need to take care of how the sequence runs yourself. You need to stop it by pressing your left key, left hand, for instance, on that part and stopping it or starting it. You can change the sound obviously by going into adding more frequency modulation to specific points. And the other thing that you could do is you could put more points in there, which takes part of the volume or the modulation on a lower part, so you get more of a envelope kind of thing between those points. Yeah, because if I add another point in here, this one now has a decay time or delay and a fade time and all that kind of stuff in it, and it has the same, well, hopefully it would have had the same values as this first one, and otherwise I'll change it to it. So now this this one needs some delay time to get back to this again, and you see that if I do that, the other ones slide with it. And I need some fade time on this now. And now you can tell that there's yeah, sort of an envelope going on from this part to this part. Yeah, so if I give this a bit more, and I could do the same on this, on a point somewhere here, or say on the third, because this third point may be something like this as well. So here I get rid of my delay time and do some fade time, and I do it visually to get, and this one needs the same transposition as this. This is at 7, so I'll need to put this at 7 again. Oops. And this last point does not need fade time, but it needs delay time to go to the 1.5 step. And now this one needs to go back in modulation. And maybe even volume. So, and if I lower all of this in my mixer settings and put everything at, say, for 1.1. Oops. And put up my, maybe this is a bit too low, go back. Now, if I want another sound to play in the higher regions, I could put my key dynamics, go into my key dynamics and change this to my highest point where I would play, and take my other partial, my second partial, where I'll put some other sound, and I'll take that one and go into my mixer, put up the volume, maybe put some frequency modulation in there as well, and make it in sort of a pad, so I could I could change my something like this, and maybe lower the peak, lower the sustain, and get some release in there. obviously I need more thickness in the complete sound, so I have to go into my into my mixer, and I need to need some chorus in here, and maybe double this sound a couple of times, maybe put 3 of them in, so I could go back into this, select my partial, copy it, go into my next partial, paste it, next partial, paste it, go back to my screen and to my mixer settings, put 1 in the left, put 1 in the right, detune all of them a bit. So now I'd have something like that. So, and maybe I need to draw my volume a bit down on this, and I didn't do any things like velocity and stuff like that. So something like that. So, well, I hope that helps you think of Synclavier and timeslices in a slightly different way, and hope it works out for you. And I'll leave it at that, and hopefully see you at the next one. Cheers.